Hello, this is my session 3 speech, my persuasive speech. Today in my audience I have Caesar and Michael. My speech will be about solar canopies. Are you from an area where summers are blistering hot and you hate waiting for your car to cool down? Or have you ever been concerned about the damage that might be caused by the long periods of being in the sun? Or maybe you're a business owner and you're looking for creative new ways to save energy or produce something a little bit greener. Being from Central Florida myself, I've battled the frustrations of heat for most of my life. Being that when you get in the car, you can burn yourself, it takes forever for it to warm up, and it's just overall not a pleasant experience. I'm also concerned about the possible damages that are causing from that sun blaring down on the paint and the bodywork and the interior. Therefore, I think companies or businesses should invest in solar canopy structures for their open air parking lots. Basically, a solar canopy is just like a structure that you can see at a drive-through or a Sonic restaurant that has solar panels built to the top. The solar panels would give multiple benefits for the business owners, as well as the car owners and the environment. The shade underneath would provide the car to stay cooler, the solar panels produce green energy, and the temperatures inside the car will stay down, making the overall experience for the driver more enjoyable. So let's go into these hypothetical situations in detail. Starting off with the emissions compliance. The solar panels on the roof of the structures will take the solar energy from the sun and turn it into renewable energy for the business owners alongside of the conventional energy systems. In the United States alone, buildings use 40% of our total energy usage, as well as over 70% of electricity specifically. Also, almost 1/3 of all greenhouse gases are produced by buildings from businesses. Because of the available solar energy that these systems would provide, businesses would rely less on the energy being produced by power plants and thus be a little bit greener. Even if the solar panels provided a near 10% of the total usage of a business over time, it would reduce the overall cost for the business tenfold. Taking that same percentage and multiply it by the thousands, if not millions, of large shopping plazas and corporate facilities across the United States and eventually the world, it is projected that the CO2 emissions coming from power plants will be reduced by a substantial amount. Second off, the shade underneath would allow the cars to stay at a lower temperature. On average, when temperatures range between 80 and 100 degrees, a typical summer day for most of the United States, the temperatures inside the car can reach between 130 and 170 degrees, according to HitKills.com. EPA research shows that a small percentage of emissions are produced by the vehicles that are turned off and simply parking in the sun. This is called a degassing process. As explained by HowItWorks.com, this type of emission is called evaporative emissions, where fuel vapors simply evaporate from the car. Modern evaporative control systems have helped reduce these emissions, but due to high temperatures and just basic laws of physics, the fuel systems need room to expand whenever they have heat soak and to avoid a rupturing situation. So some of these unburned fuel vapors must be vented to the atmosphere, and that's where the emissions come from. By parking in the shade, temperatures inside the vehicle will reduce drastically. It will also help the vehicle's engine, transmission, fuel system, and other vital components cool down quicker after long drives, minimizing the amount of evaporative emissions being produced by that vehicle. Finally, and honestly most importantly to my opinion, is the shade will keep the temperatures comfortable for the driver and an overall enjoyable experience. The shade would be less brutal on the materials used on the interior and exterior, thus extending their beauty and their longevity. Remember that the direct sunlight temperatures are reaching triple-digit numbers, well high, almost to 200 degrees. And the interior could experience sun bleaching over years of prolonged exposure. The life of vital air conditioning components, engine components, will be extended because the vehicle's not having to work as hard to cool the engine back down, and the AC won't have to work as hard trying to catch up with the extreme amount of heat. According to a research study conducted by the National Resources Agency of Canada, the time between cold start and the reaching optimal operating temperature, it is one of the worst periods for emissions output. With the addition of the heavy load being placed on the engine from the AC components and how heavy that can be, the output is astronomical compared to a car that is at proper operating temperature. All in all, the shaded area will make the driver not have to suffer in a hot car while it's trying to cool down, as well as the car will save fuel and reduce emissions yet again with not having to work as hard. So in conclusion, solar canopies will provide multiple advantages for both business owners as well as drivers and the environment. Business owners will see less energy usage from power plants and experience cost savings. The owners will also experience, the owners of the vehicles will experience less or lower interior temperatures and little to no degassing emissions, thus saving fuel. And overall, they will not have to wait for their cars to cool down in blistering hot temperatures, especially if they have children or if they have groceries that need to stay cold, and thus making their experience overall much more pleasant. So with all these benefits that not only help the environment, but also make just life a little bit less stressful, why haven't we invested in this technology already? So my takeaway for you today is to research the benefits even further and highly consider this new technology that's slowly starting to creep across America. Everybody benefits from solar canopies.